Yo, this is weird. My game is not on the language it usually is. Shit. Damn, it was changed without my consent. I'm not going to change it back though. I also my day 700 was ripped away from me. So there is no mercy. I'm not gonna get a no bindings run for another 100 days. That just sucks. That it sucks to suck. That's my own fault for not barging in. That might also be, I don't know, was it a drunk run or was it just a run he did on his own? Who knows? He probably got a new record. Let's be honest. Because the guy wasn't my rival. He already beat it like with at least half the days, like 313, something like that, days into this run. He fucking did it. He just straight up did it and walked away because the guy is so much better than me. It's hysterical. Anyway, yeah, this is really weird. I am so used to I'm so used to seeing like way smaller font just because of the letters. I don't know. It's pretty funny. It's pretty hilarious. Pretty goofy. Anyway, yeah, New Year's happened. I missed out on a couple of drunk runs, which is basically just free runs because I am way too hammered to first of all count how many runs I'm on, and second of all I just suck so bad when I am drunk. And I don't really keep track of time. I just sit there and yap about what happened. I could probably have yapped on and on about our fucking neighbors. Not really our neighbors, but the guys who live in the apartment, on the other side of the street from us. Yeah, we went over there and harassed them and got kicked out essentially. I'm pretty sure he threatened, quote unquote threatened to, call the cops on us, but looking back, it was a very empty threat, but in the moment, I could not do anything other than just fuck off. So that's pretty hilarious, that's pretty funny. I don't know, I didn't even know the guy existed. It was just an apartment full of girls who were talking to us out the window. And then we got into their apartment building somehow. I don't really know. I don't know. My memory of the night is extremely scattered, which of course it is. I woke up with a bunch of cuts and bruises on primarily my hands. So it's a good night. It's only a good night of drinking when you can't remember half of it and you wake up with cuts and bruises on your hand. That's how you know it's been a good night. So that's pretty fire. The peak of the night was of course the fucking what's it even fucking called? Oh, shit. I hate being bilingual. I think in one language and have to talk in another. I don't know, it's usually not a problem. I usually just I think in both languages, if that makes sense. That's pretty weird, but that's the best I can describe it. I think in both languages, just to make up for a lack of words I know. I guess this is a opportunity for me to know new language. Alright, Google Translate. This is not even on my fucking screen. You cannot see this. Shut the fuck up. There we go. Packing game? Is that how you want to translate this? What the fuck? Package insert. Okay, I am giving up on this train of thought. I can't. Okay. This is fucking hopeless. Anyway, chaos was the highlight of the night. Essentially, it's a game where we just get a bunch of fucking, gifts together. Not for anyone in particular, just like, fucking dollar store type beat gifts for whoever may want it. And then we just throw some dice. And then, I don't know, the name is probably really obvious and I'm just missing it. But, packaging game is now the official thing I'm gonna call it. This packaging game, this sounds fucking stupid. This packaging game, you essentially just roll dice around the table, like, I don't know, however many dice you want. We went with 3 because, again, we were, like, a solid, 15, 17 people there. Big table, many presents, many opportunities to fuck up. It's also just way more fun the more chaotic it is. Of course, I also had to whip out the Bad Piggies theme soundtrack, because that just elevates the chaoticness of literally anything it touches, which is awesome. I fucking love that soundtrack. Sometimes I want to put it on so bad at like parties and stuff, like at beer pong or something, but I can't because it would defeat the purpose. It would lose its value somehow, I think, if I just overused it. So I'm not using that. Anyway, we did some shenanigans. We started off just playing some fucking Mario Kart, I'm pretty sure, and Smash Bros. I got my ass handed to me in Smash Bros, which was expected. I don't know. I main Little Mac, which is very much he is very much at the bottom of the totem pole of the food chain in Smash Bros tier list. I don't know. I just think he's funny. I think he's a cool guy. He's a cool fella. He reminds me of Metal Bad from One Punch Man, which is probably entering my mind because I just binge watched the entirety of One Punch Man again. It's not the first time, not by a long shot. It's essentially my comfort show at this point. It just is my fucking comfort show that I just binge once in a while. At one point it was Mob Psycho, but in my heart it's always been One Punch Man. It's also been my like #1 show for quite a fucking while. Not now. Berserk has overtaken it. Not because I've like grown out of it. Well, okay, also that, but the manga has really fallen off after the Monster Association arc. I still follow it, but it just feels like they're pulling shit out of their ass right now. Also because the manga doesn't follow. Maybe that's just the issue. The manga I'm reading is not the webcomic. Okay, so if you don't know, the lore behind the manga for One Punch Man is pretty interesting because it is an author by the name of One who made like the original, but he, for the life of him, he cannot fucking draw. But he still does it just out of pure passion, and he still does it to this day. So there is a webcomic. I'm pretty sure it's it's not as popular because it doesn't look as good. But that's the one that has been adapted by the anime so far, like Season 1, Season 2, and I think the Monster Association, aka Season 3, which I think is actually coming up somewhere next year, that's gonna be, like, where the two mangas split up. So that's, like, the one, right? That's the one's One Punch Man. The other one is an adaptation by, I think his name is Murata or something. Doesn't matter. His name doesn't matter. He's an actual capable guy capable of drawing, not too capable of writing story. So they make a fucking great duo together, but they, for some reason, have like split up and made different. I don't know. They just had different visions of where the story needed to go. Which is, I don't know, I mean, they do kind of share the story, Also because Murata is 100% the guy who made it, like, popular in the first place. You know, it's a pretty funny shtick, it's a funny gimmick, and there's also a lot of heart behind it from the story of 1. But, you know, without it looking, you know, it's not even that Murata is, like, good at, he's not just good, he is fucking exceptional at drawing shit. Which is also where the, you know, the animation for season 1 comes in. They really wanted to do justice to this guy's artwork, which again I cannot overstate how fucking insanely good it is. Which is also why I keep reading. And also, I don't know, I'm hoping, because I've read it for quite a while. I read it, you know, I was weekly when the Monster Association arc came to an end, you know, with the fucking Galactic Garo, or whatever he's called. God Garo? I don't know. Something along those lines. I've been there for a while. But I think now we are officially in a new arc, and that has really taken a hit in terms of, like, just the quality in general. Because now there's not really that much heart in it anymore. It's just a collection of cool moments, I suppose. And, you know, sure, the backstories have never really been too important, but that's also because, you know, the backstories aren't supposed to be that important. The backstories aren't supposed to be, you know, taken seriously, I guess. I don't know if that's true. Let me think back on, like, the backstories of people here. The best part about the entire thing is when we didn't really know anything about the characters, but just wanted to see more. Especially about the S-class heroes, like, you know, what the fuck is Zombie Man? I don't really need to know. Like, it's cool to know. It's cool if it makes sense, right? It's also, I like the fact that we finally get backstory for Flashy Flash, because he's just been a, you know, I don't know, I've always been a secret, quote-unquote secret, Flashy Flash, enjoyer, even though he's kind of relegated to the background a lot of the time, because, I don't know, Atomic Samurai or something has just taken over. But he's been getting more and more spotlight, and he's finally getting backstory intertwined with Sonic. You know, Speed of Sound Sonic. They were fucking homies, they were bros. Which is cool and all, but it also just feels like something that Murata pissed out his ass. Let's be honest. It is hot garbage, you know, when you think about it, but it's cool, which is, you know, also, it's, the more and more I think about it, the more and more in line with everything it is, but it just doesn't make that much sense. You know, it's very clear that it hasn't been thought of from the beginning, and only thought of because, you know, we are, you know, they needed more to write about, essentially. Because now, their big thing was the Monster Association arc, and that is kind of, you know, fucking, that's kind of over now. That's just Vem vill du? Nej. So that arc is just kind of over now, and nothing, you know, it would be cool to just, like, sit there and feel the repercussions of it. I think they did that for, like, a good while. With the, you know, there were some survivors of the Monster Association, and they basically were kept as pets by, you know, Saitama. Which was pretty hilarious. Like, how do these, like, literal god tier monsters just survive? I'm pretty sure, I can't remember, I think it was, is it not Golden S? Who was fucking just relegated as a dog. It's something. It's something. But you know, it sounds really goofy when I explain it, but it was cool to see. Like, it makes sense, and you know, it's a plot thread that you can take and be like, oh, maybe, you know, maybe this literal monster realizes, first of all, he has no chance against these heroes if a Class B hero is, you know, keeping him as a pet. This guy has no chance, but also, like, he's gathering his forces to strike again and such, right? And you know, it would just be cool to see an arc of him, like, kind of warming up to humans in general. I don't know. I don't know where I want the story to go. I just don't want it to go this direction. Sure, I think, okay, so a lot of my gripes with this comes from the fact that we get Blast lore, and it is not as hype as I expected. Sure, I like his fighting style and all, because it is literally beyond this world. So we, as readers, we don't understand what the fuck is going on when him and his eternal rival, called the Man, which I, by the way, think is fucking hilarious, because there's a lot of stories out there that, you know, weekly stories that just say, oh, that man is coming, or that man is about to do something, or, you know, one or the other. I'm mainly talking about One Piece here. That's a big problem in One Piece. But, you know, that man. And they did the exact same thing here, but they literally call... it's not because they're referring to some mysterious guy. His name is literally that man. I find that fucking hilarious. So shout out, right? So that is Blast's rival. Blast, by the way, being the #1 hero that has just kind of just gone missing. I like the, you know, partial backstory. I like the Tatsumaki backstory, where we got, you know, just a teeny tiny bit of insight of her actually, you know, meeting Blast. I can't actually remember if that was Blast or if that was a god. Yeah, that's the territory we're in now. But, you know, essentially just seeing these small moments of Blast. But now, at this point, it just kind of feels like Blast is the main character who has kind of taken over, and we're supposed to just accept that. I don't know, it might just because I'm reading weekly, because it's been that for like a couple of chapters. Like, we get like half a chapter of backstory and a couple of chapters of fighting, and then Saitama is back again. He just grabbed that man's, you know, his sword, which is meant to literally cut dimensions. Blast's whole shtick is that he punches through dimensions and then back into this dimension. I think that's how it works, but again, it's the cool part about, like, we don't really know how it all works, and we're not really supposed to. It's kind of the same with, like, how did Saitama get this strong? But also, oh god, I can't remember who. There is someone, okay, so you remember all the way back in Season 1, right? The House of Evolution. They did some fuckery with, like, just making people stronger. And it has been a plot point that has been in the back of my mind for so fucking long. Again, I can't remember who they were talking about. Were they talking about Zombie Man? Zombie Man is from the House of Evolution, by the way. Maybe not, but, you know, essentially, they might have just been talking about our guy Saitama. They just figure out how he got so strong. It's essentially that he removed his limiter, which is so what does that mean? I mean, sure, I know what it means, but what does that really mean? How do you do that? How does that work? What's the limiter usually at? Is it different for each person? I do not know, but he removed the limiter, and it seems, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Garo that we're talking about. Like, Garo just removed his limiter too. So, in essence, Garo had the opportunity to be this, you know, invincible guy that finally would put up a good fight. But, you know, in the end, he didn't. But it's never really explained or expanded upon beyond that. And I would very much like it to be. Because I think at this point in the story, people are starting to realize, you know, enough people are starting to realize just how freakishly strong Saitama is. I think, okay, we got a couple S-class heroes. We got, of course, Genos. We have fucking Silver Fang and Tatsumaki also, and you know, accordance to the manga, they had a fight, by the way. Saitama won by a landslide. And of course, you know, Blast. So the top 3 heroes and King. So the top 4 hero. Wait, is King 4 or is he 7? He's 4 or 7. But, you know, at least 5 S-class heroes. 3 of them being the top 3. They know how insanely strong he is. And they just kind of don't do that much about it. I don't know. It just feels weird. Especially when they've seen the scale of this guy. Like, oh, he's not just strong. He might be stronger than Blast, our number 1 guy, especially when Blast has seen him in action. Like, oh, this guy is stronger than me. We should do something about this. But they just don't. They just straight up don't. And I don't know why. It's weird. There's a lot of things like that. Oh yeah, also, there's a whole fucking plot thing going on about the Neo heroes. Like, basically another hero association. And, like, a bunch of S-class heroes and a bunch of, like, the martial artists and whatnot are joining them. Again, just an excuse to add more characters to the roster, which I also wasn't a huge fan of, because you already have a pretty colorful cast. Just, you know, make them more like characters and not just, these are S-class heroes. Make them actually have some personality and do something and have, you know, have opinions. And sure, they do that, but they, you know, they feel the need to add more. You know, it's a cool concept that has kind of been brewing for a while, that the Hero Association isn't actually that good. Just in terms of, like, you know, sure, they save the world and whatever, but in terms of just, like, the people ruling, they're not that good. They're not good people. So that's always kind of been brewing in the background. So it's nice to see that they're actually doing something about it, but, you know, there are just people out there who were waiting for this organization to show up and just join. I don't know, there's some sort of sumo wrestler who is apparently stronger than fucking, like, a lot of, what's his name? Super Alloy Darkshine, I'm pretty sure his name is, if I get that correctly. He's stronger than him. And again, he is freakishly strong. So that's a whole fucking thing that just kind of happened. I do not know. Don't ask me why all these people are... I mean, the thing is, if they were shown before, if they were actually mentioned before and whatever, sure, I would accept this. But they straight up just aren't. They're just introduced here, like 10 of them at once, which would be, you know, cool enough if it wasn't a very newly added or made organization. Like, the reason it worked so well with the Hero Association in the first place was because it wasn't, you know, it was a pre-established thing. that these heroes are like pillars of the world. And you know, why is like the number one hero? Why isn't he here? Why hasn't nobody seen him in years? And that's finally getting answered, sure. But there are so many guys out there, S-class guys out there, that have just never really been heard of before, and they only now create a rival organization. I don't know, it feels kind of weird. It feels very weird, in fact. So I don't really know. It's also... I hope that they're going somewhere with all of these different plot points, because so far, they haven't really been intertwined with anything. They haven't been intertwined with each other. They're just kind of separate things, like the whole Sonic backstory, the Neo heroes, the fucking the monster that was a pet. It's all just separate things, and also the fucking people who know Saitama is so strong. They're kind of like, wow, you are so strong, and then they back off, and then they just do their own thing. There's also a whole fucking thing with the masterization thingies that never really gets touched upon again. With the masterization that happened in season 2, it's just kind of it's been shown relatively recently, aka in the last 2 years of the manga, and they just show it and again piss off. They don't care. So I'm hoping all these things intertwine at some point, and I'm gonna have to fucking eat all of these words that I just spent half an hour on. But so far, not impressed. So that's why I dropped it from my number 1 spot of my favorites, goated of all time. And that is why number 1 right now is still the GOAT Berserk. That was my little rant. I gotta go catch a bus. Over and out.